will just glimpse through some of the highlights which I would like to share. So the language teacher was wrong. Language teacher insisted on perfect spelling, punctuation, sentence structure, handwriting. So many people think, okay, I cannot write because I'm not good in grammar. I'm not good in, my spelling is very awful. So that is not the issue. The issue is, can you communicate? Can you put your thoughts in writing? So a process called editing, in which this could be taken care, whether it is grammar or whether it is sentence structure. So in the editing process, it could be correct. So yeah, lack of language proficiency need not keep a person from communicating. So there are many people who give speech from the pulpit or from stages. They are not perfect. They make mistakes, but people accept them. So it is not about the skill. It is more than that. It is about our thoughts, our ideas. So this should keep us from writing. Especially in my life, I make mistakes, lot of mistakes. If you look at my writings, you can see many grammar mistakes, many spelling mistakes. And thank God there are some people who edit it. Otherwise, it goes like that. So the reason is, so I'm not bothered about whether I'm making a perfect sentence, but I bothered about, am I making perfect sense? So perfect sense is more important than perfect sentence. So I'm not bothered about the language. Is my grammar right or is my pronunciation right? So is my spelling right? So these could be taken care later. So the second thing is, as a writer, you do not need to have a rigid outline, but a flexible outline. So many people who write have a template. First paragraph should be like this, second paragraph should be like this, you have to end like this. So there is no rule like that. Each writer can have their own style, as each preacher has their own style. Some people start with a story, some people end with a story. Some people start with a question, or some people end with a question. So it is their style of communicating. The same way, writing also, it should be flexible. It is not rigid. Some people think it should be like a template. Yes, in academic writing, if you are submitting an assignment in your college or in your PhD research, there may be template. There you have to have a rigid outline. But when it comes to the communication to people, when it comes to the popular writing, it is always a flexible outline. You should be able to change your outline. So perfection is not the goal. So our writing is not to become a classic like Shakespeare's, which would be read after 300 years also. So that is our goal. Our goal is simple communication. Am I able to communicate with 2 people? Am I able to communicate with 10 people? The 10 people, those who receive, are they able to understand? Or am I communicating my ideas and thoughts and opinions in such a way the people who receive it are able to understand it? That's all. So we are not creating classes. So perfection is not the goal. When we write, we are not going to make it perfect. So there will be always scope for improvement. There will be always scope for change. There will be always scope for editing. So there will be always scope for suggestion, additional thought. So writing and editing are two different things. So this we have, some people want to do both simultaneously. That doesn't happen. So inspiration, writing comes from the right hemisphere of the brain, and editing comes from the left hemisphere. So writing means it is creative work. It is imagination, thinking, bringing the whole idea together. So like drawing a picture. So left more logic, analysis, systematic. So is there a connection between 1 and 2 and 3? So that kind of thing. So when you write, you have to be like a right brain person. Start writing. Then when you edit, you have to be a left brain person. So these two should be differentiated. When you confuse these both, then you have problems. So actually in our writing workshops, we usually give some exercise like speed writing exercise. So we will not be able to do that now. So the speed writing exercise will be, we give a blank paper and say, start anywhere. You can start from the middle of the page or the bottom of the page or the flow. Then you have to write. You keep on writing. You should not stop using the pen. So we have to fill the page. If you want more pages, we will give. We will give them 10 minutes to keep writing. So then only they will understand, okay, the thoughts flows faster than what we can write. Thoughts are very, sometimes we are not able to cope. Sometimes we are not able to write all. Sometimes we miss the point. So we will write 6 points. By the time you write 5, you forget the 6. So that is the reality. So our mind is very, very fast. So mind or bank of ideas, that is brainstorming on paper. So you always should have a writer, have a bank of ideas. So bank of ideas, maybe one page for one topic, putting ideas, putting stories, putting quotes, putting logical sequences, a number of points you are going to use, then connecting with one another, circle them, square them, or use colors. So then you will be able to have a map of the article. So where to begin, so how you can go, or you can take a flashback and come back. All these can be done in a picture. So having a bank of ideas and also having a picture is very important. The faster you write, so brainstorming on paper, it is a bubble diagram, you can do it, or you can do it in horizontal, you can do it circles, so you can do it as flow chart. So drawing and connecting ideas. So this will help you to arrive at the structure of your article or whatever it is. So this is the urge to tell all stories one go. So many times we have more ideas. We have 20 ideas to speak, but people are not willing to listen. So what are the priority ideas that you have to share? So that, because we have a lot of things to share. We think we know more things than other people. So when we come to the position, we tend to crowd our mind with all those thoughts. And this crowding of mind is revealed in the paper. So the thoughts, so you are not able to connect with one another. So what you have to do is you have to resist that kind of urge. Okay, people can digest only one idea at a time, one thought at a time. So give them bit by bit. How can you eat an elephant? Just eat one mouthful at a time. The same way, help people to digest the ideas and thoughts. So knowing your reader is who are going to read, see, who are going to watch my short movie. where are they located. So from where they will be watching, in their homes or in their offices, or they specifically come to listen. So it all depends upon the audience, place, position, their interest. So you want to communicate with an audience, but the audience is not listening. Then what you will do? So you learn who your audience are. What is their age? What is bothering them? What is their priority? What is the questions they have in mind? So they are facing various kinds of challenges in life. Am I addressing them? So if I don't address what is relevant to them, they're not interested. So the relevance is very important. I'm facing the challenge of one thing, but you are addressing something else. Then I don't want to listen. So I'm fighting for my livelihood, or I am fighting for time management, or I'm trying to understand, I'm seeking wisdom, or I'm understanding. So there are many things that I am struggling with. So if we are addressing my struggle, then you don't have my attention. So people will have attention only when you address their issues, struggles. So many writings are not relevant because it doesn't match their need. So we have to understand our audience, study their audience, do research about our audience, or speak with the audience. Then write. So use active verbs. So in your writing, active verbs. It's not passive verbs. So many people write passive. So when you write passively, people are not interested. So it is always active, dynamic. So like Mark Gospel is very dynamic. Will be keep on moving. So the Lord left, then he went there. So he did. So it is all dynamic, active verbs that compels you to read the next. Oh, what is that? What is the author going to say? The next, what would be the next scene in the drama? Or what would be the highlight? Or how we will get the how he ends it. So there should be a suspense by writing activity. So organizing the thoughts. So see from different perspectives. First of the writers, what I want to say. Second of the reader, what they know, or what they need to know, and what is the level of understanding. So taking from known to unknown is the right principle. So if they know 1, 2, 3, then I can talk about 4, 5, 6. If they don't know 1, 2, 3, then I have to start from 1, 2, 3. I cannot start from 9, 12, 9, 10, and 11, and 12. So who is my reader? What level of understanding he or she has, and what they know. So if you see the communication, Lord Jesus Christ takes people from what they know to what is unknown. Simple things they see, observe, like the parable of the sower. Everybody could visualize them, though they are not sitting in the field. They can, in the mind, visualize how the sower, say, takes the seed and spreads it, how it some falls in the wayside, and you can imagine bird coming and eating it, and some falling in the midst of, some falling in the rocky places, some in the fertile ground. So he uses simple known things to bring in the unknown thing, the spiritual truth, solve. So how he brings the power of influence. How can a disciple be a salt? Salt, what does the salt do? So the people can understand. So you have to know the status of our people, the people who are going to read or see, and to take to the next level.
Excuse me, one minute. Samanan,
Yes.
இந்த வாய்ஸ் வந்து ரிப்பீட் ஆகுது. யாரோ ஸ்பீக்கர் வச்சிருக்காங்க போல இருக்கு.
Okay.
கொஞ்சம் அவங்ககிட்ட சொல்லுங்க, ரிப்பீட் ஆகிட்டே இருக்கு.
So we are requesting all people to put it in the mute. Okay. So the writers should know the audience, their status, their level of understanding, so that we can go to the next aspect. So the writers should have the right perspective. So as communicators, we should have the grasp of the subject we are speaking. So there is one even saying that there is no uninteresting subject. There is only uninteresting teachers. There is no uninteresting subject. There are only uninteresting teachers, uninteresting writers. So it is not the subject that puts off the people. It is the messenger who puts off the people. So your student may not like mathematics, but you may like the mathematics teacher, the way he or she teaches, and choose to study mathematics. So that happens. So am I an interesting writer? So are people attracted to my writing, or they want to see because they get something out of it? That is very important. Then move from most important to less important. So when you begin with the most important thing. So that put the least important, because some people may read only half, or only the first paragraph. So when they see the first few minutes of your video, they should get what the most important thing you want to communicate. So even if they switch off, even if they don't read, so you are given the most important message. So try to bring the most important aspect of the message in the beginning itself. So educate the reader. Give them what they need to know, not just what they want. So this is very much true as pastors, missionaries, or Christian leaders. So Paul wants, in the last days, people will choose preachers who will fulfill their interest, that is, with the tingling ears. That means the preachers will only tell what pleases the listeners. So that is not the case. So if you are a Christian writer, so we are not going to please people. We are not going to say or write or show what people want to see. They ought to see. This is the thing they should know. This is important for them. So we are prophetic voice. So we are voice that gives them the right information. So don't suppress the information or don't hide the information. Instead, so you should know that this person should listen to this. So telling the truth, telling the right doctrine is very important. So there are people who are not speaking about the right doctrine. So like prosperity preachers, they may not talk about cross. So they are not interested in cross. So there are some preachers who do not talk about missions. They are not interested in missions because they understand, okay, our listeners are only interested in prosperity gospel. Let me talk about only blessings. Let me not give them anything about missions. So that means we are cheating our listeners. So that means we are denying our call. If God has given us the message, we have to deliver it, whether the people like it or not. So in Ezekiel, we see the Lord says, you go and tell the people but they will not listen. Don't stop telling, keep telling. So that may be our call. So we may have to package the message so that they can listen, at least start listening. But at the same time, we could not compromise on the message. So our goal is to help them to come from the unknown to the known, or lead them from where they do not have any knowledge to have knowledge. So then in the writing, use transitions. This is very important. So you cannot abruptly transit. So transition makes reading a pleasing thing. So there are some words that's coming on your screen: nonetheless, nevertheless, however, in addition, sadly, fortunately, traditionally, so first, second, third, so that kind of thing. Next. So that is helpful in transiting our thought flow. So if you are having 5 points to say, you move from first point to second point to third point. So how they are connected. So they should not be loose hanging ideas, but interconnected ideas. That is connecting the dots. So you should always do that. In the Paul's writing, you can see, you write something and said, therefore, then you write the other idea. So he gives some ideas, then says the implication is therefore. So the same way, we have to have transition from one concept to another concept. So usually the title or the sections will be like this: title, subject, item 1, 2, 3. So this is the format of essay writing that you do it in your schools. This is the same format. It will have more flavor as a writer. So how do you choose the words? Avoid empty words, long words, passive words, and inappropriate words. So choice of words: first degree words and second degree words. That means the most appropriate words and the less appropriate words. First degree word creates picture in the minds of the readers. Immediately they can see, like Paul writes. So you have to run the race. So immediately you can get a picture. Fight a good fight of faith. So you can get a picture. So a Christian worker is like a farmer who waits for the seed to grow. So these words create images. So when you create images, people can remember for long. So here we are given as, I was attacked by an animal. Animal is a second degree word. I was attacked by a wolf. Wolf is a first degree word. So I was attacked by an animal, so the reader is confused what animal it is. Big animal, small animal, or it is a rat, or it is a lion. So each person will have its own imagination. If they say I was attacked by a wolf, so they can imagine properly. So they grasp it properly. So using vague words or using ambiguous words will put people in confusion. Especially in our country, it is very important that when you use a word, because people have many interpretation of those words, especially in Christian communication, that becomes a big challenge. When you talk about salvation, what do you mean? What the listener means. Two different things. So when you talk about salvation, they may be talking about coming out of the karma, getting released from karma, so that they don't go on doing reincarnation. When you talk about salvation from the Christian perspective, we talk about forgiveness of sins. We talk about eternal life. So we have to clarify the words in a way that they can understand. Otherwise, they will misunderstand. So words are, one person explained, word is like a bucket. you can put any meaning into it. So each person will put his own meaning. So that creates confusion. So as a writer, as a communicator, you have to make sure the way you understand the word should be understand in the same way by the reader. If the reader understands it in a different way, that means you are not communicating. So have clarity in your words. So writing is a process. So this is a process people go through. Sometimes people don't go through this. Some writers don't do these things. But the standard procedure, maybe 80 to 90% of the people who write go through this process. 10% are outliers, so they don't do that. So they are gifted, highly gifted or high profile. So you cannot compare yourself with them. So the standard procedure is like this. So pre-writing is very important. Pre-writing is already we talked about the data. Yeah, book in which you put your ideas. Always carry a book or a piece of paper because surprising you get a new idea. So you just note it down. That is pre-writing. So pre-writing, suddenly you may have to wake up at 2 o'clock and do your noting down. So morning you may forget it. As Nebuchadnezzar nature forgot his dream, we also forget our thoughts. So it may happen. So sometimes you get ideas at strange times. So because our mind is always active, 24 hours active. So a new idea springs in your mind. So the pre-writing, so this is the topic I should be writing. This is the idea I should communicate. This is the question I have to answer. So this is the news I read, so I should write up something about it. For example, you're reading about suicide. Okay, I should write about suicide. So that is the pre-writing. Then collect information, data. What is the definition for suicide? How it happens? Who commits it? So like that you have to get the pre-writing data. Then drafting it. So drafting it is giving a template. Like this is the first paragraph, this is the second paragraph, this is the third argument, this is the fifth argument, this is the conclusion, this is the challenge I'm going to do. So that will be a rough draft. Then you revise, edit, and publish. So you keep on going through the process. Sometimes you write, you think this is not worth, delete it, and write again, delete it, write again, correct it. So you should be willing to do that. So you should not think, okay, I write it. So it is not like, what is his name? Pontius Pilate. He said, what is written is written. You cannot say that. So we have to revise it. And if it is possible, you can ask somebody to read it. And when they read it, they can give you comments. So writing is a process. Then do one thing at a time, write or organize or edit. Don't do all the three together. So editing is like a surgery, painful, but you have to do it. So editing means you rewrite the sentences or chop out one paragraph, two paragraphs. You use the good illustration, but the illustration doesn't fit in, cut it out. So it is like a surgery. So when you're writing, you write maybe 2,000 words, 3,000 words. Then organize it. Maybe 10 paragraphs should come as a fifth paragraph. 7 paragraphs should come as second paragraph. Do that organizing. Then edit. In editing, you may have to chop off a lot of things. So editing is a very painful process. If you are editing somebody's article, it is more painful because one time I was editing nearly 13 pages, but it was only worth 2 pages. So I had to chop off 11 pages from the whole article. So the senior editor was so upset. So I said, this is what I can do because the writer didn't write properly. The writer was a big, high profile management consultant, and he was writing for Christian manager. So I said, this will not fit into our magazine. We have to either drop the whole article or reduce it into 2 pages. So we sent the information. It was difficult, but we have to send it. So if you are editor of a magazine, you have to do that. So you are, instead of somebody else doing the editing, you do your editing yourself, so that it is less painful when others edit. So if you self-edit, then it is better. Why editing is important? Readers will edit if the author does not. So grammar and spelling mistakes should be there, but like Microsoft Word helps you to come out with that. And readers could misunderstand. Readers are in a hurry. So if you don't organize your writing, if you don't give subtitles, if you don't give 1, 2, 3, the sequences, the people won't read it. So one of the reasons people like to read mine is there will be always subtitles, maybe one subtitle for every paragraph. So if they are in a hurry, when they go through the subtitles itself, they will know what this is what the author comes to write. So that is, make it as easy as possible for people to digest. Thumb rule, each sentence should be read in one breath. If not, it is too long. Each sentence should be read in one breath. Yeah, some people can write longer. So some writers have the authority to do that. Some writers have the privilege to do that, not all writers. Generally, all writers, beginning writers, should write short sentences which could be read in one breath. So the best words are shortest words. So complicated ideas could be communicated in simple sentences. That is very, very important. Simplify it. Pharisees, Sadducees will complicate it. Lord Jesus Christ will always simplify it. So only Lord Jesus Christ was popular. Simplify great ideas, complicated ideas, so that people can clearly understand. So have a pleasing format. So good title, general border, subtitles, bullet points, good size fonts. All these are important. Sometimes you see A4 size and all the lines with 8, 9 words. It looks like something which is not, could not be read. So leaving spaces, adding pictures are very important in the modern digital times. So when they see it, they should be pleased to read it. Yes, there are certain places like WhatsApp, you cannot do much. But in a blog, you can do better. So you make it pleasing for the people. So truth is bitter, but you have to coat it with sugar. Same way the medicine. The bitter medicine is coated with sugar so that the people are able to take it. So pleasing format is very important. God gives me things to say. I put them on paper. I am a writer. With this, I would like to close.